Hi there, this is Gary from Cuta-Copter. Thank you so much for buying one of our craft. I think you really have a good product and you are going to have many hours of enjoyable fishing. This is a training video, so we are going to tell you a little bit about how you should use your craft safely, and in doing so you will avoid problems as much as possible. So when you get your craft, the first thing you need to have a look at is your enclosed instruction manual. Read through this, do the theory test, look at the back section, which is also the training checklist, and make sure you get up to 100% for the theory test. It's very important. In your package, you're also going to get your battery alarm to test your batteries before flying. You're also going to get your main power battery, which will either have the new XT90, it's a large yellow plug, or you might have the older yellow plug, the XT60, and the very older plugs are the original Dean's plugs. In future, when you do a service, you should think about changing to the XT90s. They're a much more reliable plug. When you get your craft out the box, let's take this for example. This is the Super Raggy. You'll notice you've got these round circles on top. That is your quick release prop mechanism. That will allow you to spin your prop on and off very easily. You've got your servo release arm. That is where your sling will hang and your trace will hang on your sling. That will rotate down and your trace will slide off. Okay? You've got your handle for ease of use and handling. At the very back is your LED. This is a light indicator to show you the status of the craft. It will tell you when it's ready to take off. It will tell you if there are any errors in the GPS mode. And if it's red, it means stop. If it's green, it means go. Quite simple. Right, let's move on now to some of the details of the training.
The first thing we will do is to turn on the radio. Always turn the radio on first. Then take your battery, insert it into the port. The yellow light will stay on solid, and then the green light. Please do not move the craft while these two lights are on. Gyros are setting, it needs to be stable. The next thing is to toggle the right hand switch about 8 times back and forth to get a solid yellow light, which will start the compass calibration process. The compass calibration process will take place outside, so we will show you later on how to do it precisely. It's important to be away from anything metallic. Rocks have metals, stay away from them. Railway lines, cars, or anything like that. Stay away from metallic objects. Here we will learn how to start and stop the motors safely. It's important to remember this is a two-step process. Step 1, then step 2. Always put the sticks in the middle before doing anything, especially starting and stopping the motors. Place the sticks in the middle. Use the left stick, pull it down. That is step 1. Step 2, put the sticks in all the corners. Then push the left stick to the middle. The motors will idle. To stop the motors, we do exactly the same thing. Pull the left stick down first. That is step 1. Step 2, put the sticks in the corners. The motors will stop. Let's now take a walk out onto the beach. We should note that if the wind is very strong, it may be more difficult for our drone to be stable. So be very careful. Do not use it in above 35 kilometers an hour if you can help it. Once you've opened your bag, try to position the craft in a way that is facing the ocean or the direction of flight. This will help you with all levels of orientation so that you do not have any flying problems. Once we have put the power on the Cuta-Copter, the yellow light will turn on solid, and then the green light will turn on solid after that. Remember, do not move the Cuta-Copter whilst the gyros are stabilizing. Only move it once the green light is off. Then you'll be sure for a safe and successful flight. Now that the gyros have stabilized, it is time to calibrate the compass. Toggle the right hand switch back and forth about 8 times until the yellow light turns solid on the craft. Use the handle to pick up the Cuta-Copter and hold it level. Start turning slowly and wait for the green light to turn solid. When the green light turns on, make sure to stop immediately. Now flip the Cuta-Copter nose upwards. Continue turning until you see the lights start to flash again. If there are any red lights, you will need to redo the compass calibration. Otherwise, everything is good for the next step. Please take note that when the craft light turns green, you must rotate the craft vertically. If you keep turning while the craft is horizontal and the green light is on, this will create errors and the craft will behave badly. Let's take a look at how things appear from the perspective of the new pilot. As you can see, the yellow light is on and we are turning the craft in a horizontal motion. We are waiting now for the green light to turn on. The green light is now on. We must stop and flip the craft vertically. Continue turning and keep your hand under the light to check that everything is good, and when it starts to flash, it means we are almost ready to take off for the first time. If there are no red lights, everything is good to go. Now that the compass calibration is complete, put the craft back on the ground facing the sea. Repower up. You will see the yellow light will be on, then the green light. We are now waiting for 20 green lights before we start the motors. There we have 20 green lights. Now it is safe to take off. Remember, we will use the same process as we showed you earlier on. Step 1 and then step 2. Put the left stick in the middle once the motors have started and they will idle. Okay, so let's go through that takeoff process one more time. Step 1, step 2, put the left stick in the middle. Now to take off, push the left stick all the way up to maximum. The craft will then take off. Hold it there until it reaches its max altitude, then put the sticks in the middle. Now the craft will hover and be stable. Now that we have our 20 green lights, we are ready to take off. Start the motors by doing step 1 and step 2. Put the left stick in the middle until idle. To take off, push the left stick all the way to the top, and then hold it there until the craft reaches its max altitude. If there's a lot of wind, the craft might move in the direction of the wind, but after a while it will be steady and will hover.
Okay, now that our craft is hovering, our sticks will all be in the middle and all our switches will be to the top. So in order to move the craft forward, what we need to do is we have to push the right stick forward. As long as we hold it forward, the craft will continue moving. Now what's important there is not just to slam the stick forward, but rather to think of it like the brake on your car. Start slowly, and then as the craft gets going, then you push it all the way forward. So for the craft to stop, slowly bring the stick back. And then once it's in the middle, the craft will hover again. So just to show you with the craft, push forward slightly, it will go forward a bit, and then give it its maximum control. For the craft to stop, slowly bring it back to the middle and the craft will hover. Now let's get the craft to drop the bait. The way we do that is with the long left switch. Once the craft is hovering, we check that all the sticks are in the middle once again. Drop the bait. After we've dropped the bait, we move the sticks back to the top. All we do now is slowly reverse the craft back to us. Cuta-Copter will come back, and when we release the sticks, again it will hover. Now we are ready to land. To land, all we do is slowly drop the left stick down. The Cuta-Copter will slowly descend. Keep dropping the stick down and control the speed of descent. When the feet touch the ground, all you need to do is step 1, step 2. Quite simple. Sticks in the middle, it will hover. Bring it below half, the craft will descend. Come down further, it will descend faster. When the feet touch the ground, step 1, step 2, and the motors will stop. Your craft will land safely. Let's now talk about the auto landing. The auto landing is totally simple. The craft will do everything by itself. Before we do anything, we put the sticks in the middle. We would have dropped the bait, put the bait switch back to the top. Now let's do an auto landing. The far left small switch, pull that back. The craft will start to come back towards you. Put the switch back to the top so that it's in our default position. The craft will continue coming back. It will hover above your head and then slowly descend. You will notice that the sticks are still in the middle. When the craft touches the ground, the motors will turn off by themselves. But what we do advise is as soon as the craft touches the ground, perform the motor stop. Step 1, step 2. It is always best to stop the motors immediately by yourself. Of course, the Cuta-Copter can also move sideways. So we can move the craft sideways like that and back. The way we do that is once again using the right hand stick. If we push the stick to the right, the craft will move sideways. If we push it to the left, it will move to the left sideways. But let us say we want to change our heading. If the craft is pointing in the wrong direction and we need to rotate the craft back towards the sea, all we do then is use the left stick. Push the left stick to the left and the craft will rotate its nose in that fashion. Push it to the right and the craft will rotate in that fashion. Remember, before we do anything on the craft, we always put the sticks in the middle. That is the safest thing you can do. Keep the sticks in the middle, your default flying position. Before you go flying, you need to charge your battery. So the standard model is equipped with the simple charger. It's very easy to use. You plug in the cable into the 220 output and then you line up the plastic socket, the white socket, with the port with 5 pins. All you need to do is insert it and then you will see a string of lights that will turn on. If the light is flashing, it is still charging. If the light is solid at 100%, then your battery is full and you can remove it. When you are at the flying field, you will take your battery checker and you will then make sure that the battery is full. Take your battery checker, insert it into the port and check the values. For these batteries, you will see 16.6 to 16.8 is fully charged. Once you've put the power all the way to the top, the craft will not go beyond 30 meters. This is to take aviation safety into consideration. Once we've flown it out, we will want to hover the craft and drop the bait. Very often the new pilot will forget to put the left stick in the middle. The result being is that you will drop the bait, put the craft into auto return, and then it will come back and hover above the takeoff point. However, the craft continues to hover and will not descend. The reason for this is that the left stick is not in the middle. Always make sure the left stick is in the middle before you do anything. Once you want to take over control yourself, you use your master control switch. Toggle it down once, hold it, toggle it down back to the top, and then you will have manual control again. Even if the craft is descending in auto mode, you will still be able to position it exactly where you need to be safe. When you place your craft on the ground, it does not have to be a perfectly level surface. The surface might be somewhat inclined. That is fine. The main thing is when you put the power on the plug, the craft must stay stable and not move whilst the yellow light and green light is on. You can also land on a surface that is unlevel. What is important there is as soon as the craft lands and the feet touch the ground, do the immediate motor cut. Step 1, step 2. If you do not do the immediate motor cut on an inclined surface, the craft might tend to rock on the ground in this fashion and be somewhat unstable. All you need to do is kill the motors instantly. Step 1, step 2, and everything will be okay. Once you get to the beach to fly, you need to install your props. The silver goes on this silver, and this will go in the normal fashion. However, once you install the orange or the gold, you will need to rotate these in an anti-clockwise direction.
Please take note, when you are working indoors or you are learning how to use your new craft, please leave the propellers off for safety. Failing to do this could cause yourself some damage.
There are two main modes of flying your Cuta-Copter. The first mode and most important is GPS mode. This mode is when the right long switch is all the way to the top. The GPS mode means that the craft will stay in one place even if there's wind. It may tilt over to one side, but it will be prevented from moving off because it is in GPS mode. The second mode of flying is attitude mode. Attitude mode means the craft will remain level, but if there's wind, the craft will drift off in the same direction as the wind. If you find yourself in that position, always add power first, then switch to GPS mode, then put the sticks in the middle to be safe. If you get disorientated and your craft is far away, put the sticks in the middle, click the return to home switch, and the craft will come back. Remember, once you've clicked the switch down, click the switch back up again.
When you turn your radio on, you may get a warning tone. Lower the throttle, put all the switches to the top, and then put the throttle back to the middle.
If you have a Revo, you may be interested in the Revo float kit. This is just for the unfortunate circumstance of where you may end up in the water for any reason. The craft will float out, you can recover it by drying it out, and in most cases there's generally very little damage if you follow the instructions that we'll give you immediately. So give us a call if something like that had to happen, but before that, get yourself a float kit just to be sure. If you have a Cuta-Copter, there are some optional upgrades. One of the options is the reef spotting camera. This is a small camera that will allow you to view objects on the ground and maybe even in the water. The way this works is it will send a live image to your cell phone via a receiver. That way you can get an idea of what is going on the ground.
With your new Cuta-Copter, you might find yourself in need of some new angling equipment. We've teamed up with Black Cat to give you the awesome Battle Cat Godzilla drone fishing rod. Black Cat also has an absolutely amazing new reel, Extreme 495. And if you equip that with some vicious fishing braid, you're going to have an absolute winning combination to be able to land the big fish that you're hoping to catch with your Cuta-Copter.
Here's another option for your Cuta-Copter. We have a handy backpack. Everything goes inside. Your Cuta-Copter will fit in precisely, enough space for batteries, your radio is kept neatly, your props are packed away, and you can even put some space for a jacket or a buff or your charger. Nicely done and goes easily on your back after zipping it up. Can easily be put on your back and carried around the beach quite comfortably. Hi guys, right, let's round off the training by understanding a little bit about the batteries and how they work. All our drones use lithium polymer batteries. They're about the best batteries you can get on the market that deliver good power to weight ratio. However, they are complicated and they can be damaged if used in the incorrect way. So what's very important is that you look after your batteries, by charging them correctly. Do not leave them on storage in a fully charged mode. Keep those batteries stored on a low voltage. And really this will mean that after you've flown your craft, that would be a suitable voltage to keep it at. And that's going to be roughly 15 volts or 15.5 volts, somewhere around there. All the Cuta-Copters are protected with low battery protection. A lot of people don't understand how this works, and there have still been some problems with craft having issues where the craft kicks into low battery and people continue to fly it around even though the craft is trying to land. So what's important to understand is that whilst the craft is flying, you'll see it'll behave in a normal way. If you are flying it forward and there seems to be almost a slight glitch or it dives off to one side, the chances are it is trying to return home due to a low battery condition. If you are close enough, you will see the red light will be flashing twice. What's very important to realize is that all of these fail-safe conditions or safety modes only become active if you fly your drone 20 meters away from your takeoff point. If you are going to hover over the same spot where you took off, none of the fail-safe measures are going to be active. So it's very important not to fly close by you, but rather fly 20 meters away so those fail-safes can be active. So I just want to emphasize the low battery condition on the Cuta-Copters is something that is set very carefully at the factory. The voltage is measured, it is calibrated, and it's then set according to the craft and the size of the battery. Obviously, the bigger the craft, the bigger the battery, the longer the craft will be able to fly. However, start putting a really heavy load on, maybe like a 2 kg load on the Cuta-Copter Revo, that's going to mean you're going to drop the voltage down of that battery as soon as it takes off. As soon as the craft comes under load and the motors are operating, the battery voltage will drop right down. What you've got to realize is that when you land, you need to measure that battery and see where you stand. Before each takeoff, check that the battery voltage is not lower than 15.5 volts, and you can then know you can safely take off. Please understand how the low battery function works. Test your drone in a park and fly it right till the very end where you see the drone do something strange or has a glitch. And then you know, put the sticks in the middle and let the drone come and land. You can even land it yourself at that stage. But make sure that you don't fly it more than it needs to fly when it's trying to land. Otherwise, the battery will collapse and you could have a crashed drone. You won't be happy. So think about that, try it out at your park, and if you like, let us know how it went. Thanks, have fun, and we hope to see you all soon. Okay, we've come to the end of the training video, and the most important thing is to know that if you feel unsure about anything, don't take a chance. Rather contact us here, the numbers will be on the screen. Contact your local dealer where you got your craft from, give them a call and we'll immediately help you. I also want to thank some of our sponsors, the Bank Angler magazine. They are really getting behind drone angling. In their articles are great and informative. Get yourself a copy or even subscribe to the Bank Angler and you will be up to date with all the latest drone fishing tournaments, drone rods, drone reels, braid, a lot of new products coming through and are available from us here as well at Cuta-Copter. Look out for our new products and thank you very much. Like and subscribe. We'll see you on the beach.
closing note, this training video is meant to supplement the full training course that your dealer will give you. Please insist with your dealer to get the full training course at the purchase time of your drone. Thanks again. Go well.